Test, test, test. 3, 2, and 1. This is the Musketeer Coaches Show on Fox Sports Radio 620 KMNS. Brought to you by Bob Rose Point After. It's where good times gather. Also brought to you by Knife River. Speaking with the head coach of the Sioux City Musketeers, that's Luke Strand. This last weekend, the Musketeers, overtime loss at Lincoln, and then a 5-1 loss at home against Sioux Falls. And well, let's start with Friday. How about that one, where the game got better and better for you?
Yeah, I think the time off, I thought we had a slow start. Give Lincoln the credit in the world. They played hard. I thought they did their job that way. I like that we hung around. We didn't. We were discouraged. Don't get me wrong, but we didn't get off our rails about it and kept the game around. And then obviously in the third, Kelly gets us on the board for a big goal. And our best period of hockey by far was the third.
Yeah, and you look at it. I look back at like opportunities against Lincoln, and you had a few opportunities, a couple missed shots or what have you. It's in the back of the net, and it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, I think when you play for the front against Lincoln, it's a different game. I mean, they might not shown anyways to this point they're maybe as a goal scoring team. So to make them chase the game is a huge part, and we didn't. And to your point, though, I thought the beginning of the game I really liked it. Then as we settled in, I think we figured like, oof, these guys aren't going away anytime soon. And like I said, our pushback in the third was good, and it was our best period. But to not get out to the front the way we maybe could have or should have made that a more difficult game.
Boy, you were killing off a penalty in overtime. Obviously, that was crucial on it. But if you kill that one, I maybe would see a shootout or something for your team.
We don't like that word. We haven't got to that word yet. So, we shouldn't. It's my first time, and I've done this kind of a long time now, that I've ever had too many men on the ice in a 3-on-3 overtime. So it was just kind of that culmination. I think that time off gave us some rusty brainwaves, and but at the same time, you can't make critical mistakes at critical moments of the game, and we did so. And I thought the effort to kill the 3-on-4 for a full 2 minutes in overtime was outstanding. We did it, and then they obviously scored at the second after it ends, expires or whatnot.
Yeah, you turn around, you take on Sioux Falls. That was Saturday, and it's one of those games where those momentum shifts can be huge, and back-to-back goals in about 15 seconds by them, just on a couple breakdowns, really.
Yeah, two breakdowns. I think there was a point there in the game early we were out shooting maybe 10-2, 10-4. I think the early chances we were up 4-1 on chances immediately, and didn't score to your point from the night before, and don't really like either of the goals. We had no business go chase a guy in the corner for no reason, leave it open net front, and then the face-off goal is kind of the ultimate no-no. And just on the idea, it's a set. I mean, it's the only time in hockey where the puck's got a chance to go either way, but both directions of the puck at the same time. So for a guy to let loose on a coverage is really not excusable. And then the timing was like you have a pushback shift after a goal, and we did not do that.
Well, that's just it. Again, opportunities not taken, or opportunities missing the net, or opportunities what have you. In general, as the game was going, I thought it was fine. I thought they kind of gained momentum after those back-to-back goals, though.
Back-to-back goals, and then they kill a 5-minute penalty, and that moment there when we don't put it behind the goalie, I thought we had a couple good looks at it, but not to the point of scoring. So, the big picture of this whole thing is the guys that are missing are key players, as they are for everybody's team, but missing 3 guys and us not taking advantage. Like the guys here that have the opportunity, in my opinion, last weekend did not rise to that opportunity, and they're right back at it again, on Tuesday night here. Like Josh Boley, we need Bo to step up. We need Bo to turn into the 200-foot, both side of the puck centerman that we brought here. I know he's had an eye injury, and I think he's going through it, but it's time. It's time.
Tonight. It's a 6:30 game. Definitely can come on out and still get home in time to get the kids to sleep or what have you. Fargo number 5. It's 2-2 against the Fargo Force. Hey, you guys know each other.
Battle 5 of the 10-game war. So, you know what we do? We talked about it this morning with our group. Just about the moment and the moment of truth and the shifts as it's going, like a win, a loss, a win, an overtime loss. Like, we're as close to be getting chances. The chances are so tight. I mean, I think they've outscored us by 3. We've outscored them by 4. And you find situations like that inside of a series that one familiar players and. They're missing players. They're missing Nodler. They're missing O'Reilly. They're missing some guys. Drobot's suspended tonight. They've got Crone. They've got Myers. Those kids are talented players, and as they play, and Carey's teams always play hard. You got to be ready for that battle.
Well, same game plan against Fargo is attack those D.
Got to get after their D. You got to be patient. You got to be mature about playing behind them and not. They do turnover. Their transition is very good. They've loaded up on chances against us and line rush against, and mainly that's got to do with turnovers. And if you're willing to just go, almost make them expire by playing behind them, it's to our benefit. And if you want to try to play in front of them and risk the turnover, they're very quick to shove it down your backside.
Well, it's kind of funny. This is game number 5 against Fargo, and after tonight, you'll be halfway there.
Halfway, then you look around the division. We haven't played Tri-City yet, so it's goofy. But I think the common opponent is here. We got to figure 5 games from now we play them again. So 4 games from now, whatever it is. So it's going to happen. And like I said, we know what they are. They know what we are. Are there some crucial objectives that we have to master to? We've had our scoring chance and our ability to stop their 3 because they do come heavy. And if you want to stall it out, allow them to add numbers. They're pretty. That's definitely been on our favor.
Well, game time again, 6:30 tonight. We're going to take our first break. Musketeer Coaches Show. This is the Musketeer Coaches Show, and it's right here on Fox Sports Radio 620 KMNS. Musketeer hockey coming up tonight. 6:30 is puck drop. Remember to get out there on time. And about 6:15, we'll start with the pregame. We'll have all the action here on KMNS, iHeartRadio, and Hockey TV. Well, we talked about last weekend. We talked about tonight's game, and now let's talk about some other things. We have a special guest, Ray Edwards, Director of Player Development for Calgary, and there's a connection between Calgary and the Sioux City Musketeer team. I think a lot of people still probably mispronounce his name, but they know 24 is always dynamite out there. And so kind of explain, what does the job entail? What do you do?
Well, it's a big job now. As you know, a lot of these teams now, they employ a big development staff. When I was coaching in the American League, this would have been 5 years ago, we had one development guy. Now our development team consists of 3 or 4 actual development coaches. We've got a development sort of strength and conditioning person. We've got a skating coach. We've got a mental coach. So I think most teams now are sort of in that vein. So you've got a number of people that really what our job is when we draft a player, it's our job to devise a plan for that player and help his development over his course of his amateur career to get him to a position where he's ready to play in the NHL. So the amateur side's a big part, and then obviously if they graduate to pro and play some time in our American League with our American League team, we're part of that process as well in terms of helping the coaching staff there get an understanding of what the player is, some of the intangibles that he may bring, how to best work with them, those types of things. So it's a lot bigger job than it was when I was coaching in the American League, and it's been a real enjoyable, sort of an eye opener for me. I've been here 4 years now, and we're just starting now to sort of reap some of the benefits of some of these young players now in Calgary, which is really exciting to see. But it's a real important job, and we take it very seriously.
You want them ready by the time you want them in uniform.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, right? You draft these kids as 18-year-olds, and each kid has a different path. But if it's a 2 or 3 year sort of program or process, the idea is that if you're doing the job correctly, that they're pushing to be NHL players within 3 or 4 years.
All right, this is the Musketeer Coaches Show. Ray Edwards with us, Director of Player Development for Calgary. And obviously with the Sioux City Musketeers, it's Martin Pospisil. He was drafted last year. And so did you come down and say, hey, Martin, just stay out of the penalty box and score, or what?
Well, I think he figured that out himself. I think he realized last year with the amount of games he missed and the amount of time he missed in the penalty box that he could have been a much more effective player for this team. So I think that's all part of maturation, and we actually like the fact that he has that sort of spice to his game, that juice to his game. I think it's a big reason why we drafted him. Those types of players are tough to find now, and as you know, you can't teach that sort of intensity, that competitiveness, and I think if you can bring that sort of the Calgary Flame identity, that's a big part of what we think we are. And so we really love that part about Martin. We obviously want him to sort of control that and harness it, and I think he's done a really good job this year of doing that. I give Luke and his coaching staff a lot of credit because they've found a way to harness that and turn that into not only offense but wins and team play. And we notice his game really sort of developing much more than sort of what we saw as a player last year. There's so much more to his game that we're seeing now.
Yeah, it's something special, especially at this level, to see the development of these guys. And I guess there are no qualms about it. He might not have the penalty minutes, but he's still physical.
Well, yeah, he uses that body. His use of size is excellent in terms of protecting pucks, getting pucks to the net, using his size to overpower people. He has a real intensity to him. He doesn't want to lose the puck, and if he loses it, he wants to get it back. And those are intangibles that are tough to teach. And it's when you have that sort of that want to retrieve loose pucks and get the puck back. Players that like offense, you have to have the puck. So if you're not willing to work to get it back, it makes it real tough. So the fact that he's without the puck, he's a player that wants to get it back and does a lot to get it back. That'll allow him to use his offensive talents more.
Talking about Martin Pospisil and his development from last year to this year. Now, I guess when you're looking at a product and when someone's going to be drafted and those guys are looking at him, they look at him a ton, but it's still kind of a hunk of clay, because we see it here as Musketeer fans and everybody else, how much he's come in, say, a year. How do you guys see it?
Well, I give our scouts a lot of credit. They do this for a living, and they're very good at it. So you're able to watch a player, and you can sort of sense and see what the progression might be. If you see raw ability and raw talent, which Martin obviously has, then you can project, what type of kid is he? Is he a kid that's going to work? Because if he's a kid that's going to work, you know that he's going to get better. If he's got a good attitude, if we saw this competitiveness in him that you can't teach. So we know, okay, if nothing else, this kid's going to be a guy that competes and is on the puck and works. So when you put all that stuff together, you have a pretty good understanding of this is where he is, but this is where he can be in 3 or 4 years. And so that's the challenge of scouting, is being able to project 2, 3, 4 years down the road. And, when you have certain attributes, whether it's skill, skating, sense, your competitiveness, those types of things, if we can evaluate that right, the evaluation of the player, then normally, if you do that correctly, in 3 or 4 years, you're going to have a player.
So you got a couple more years or so with developing Martin. So what is he going to look like in a couple of years, I guess? What would you like him to look at as a player when it comes to Calgary?
Well, again, you look at his size and his attributes. So the one thing that we're seeing this year is his ability to produce. And so, you've got a big-bodied player that has a real sort of competitiveness to him. So the sky is the limit for Martin. That's what's so nice about it. I think last year we saw a certain thing. This year he's evolved into this offensive player. Can he be a top 6 sort of centerman that can play against top people? I think the answer right now is we're hoping for that. Again, it's going to come down to how we work with him over the next couple of years. And then when you turn pro, it's a whole nother game. He's going to deal with different different distractions, different obstacles, and those types of things. So how will we handle that? So we'll be there with him during that whole process. So right now it's easy to say, geez, he's one of the top leading scorers in this league. He's dominating, but the next level is another step, and there's different hurdles, different obstacles to deal with. So he'll have different different things to deal with as he continues this process. But that's sort of why we're here. We're here to help him go through that and help him through it and help him learn as he goes. And the thing I know about Martin is he's a committed kid. His attitude is outstanding, and he's very coachable. So we're real happy and real confident that this is going to turn into a pretty good NHL player.
Well, so far, so good on it. We're talking with Ray Edwards. He's Director of Player Development for Calgary. I guess one more thing is, I suppose you're in contact with Martin on a regular basis on what path to go to. Because, that's another thing, too, whether it is to go a minor pro or obviously committed to college or whatever. And so how do you come up with a plan like that, obviously, with parents and, all those guys?
Well, the great thing in Martin's case is he has a ton of options. So I think his family and his advisors, along with the Calgary Flames, will sit down together and review sort of all the options, which he has a ton of, and we'll all figure out what the best plan is for him. And the idea is that down the road, the objective is to play in the NHL. So how will that work? What's the process? How long do we think it'll be? And then, you have to lean on Martin. Like, what does he want to do? And so I think that's part of, what we do as development people is come in and sort of lay out the objective, lay out the opportunities that he might have, and help him sort of figure out what might be best for him. And he's got great people in his corner, from his advisors to Luke and his staff to the Calgary Flames personnel, and then obviously his family. So we're real confident that he'll figure out the best sort of path, and we'll help him whatever that path is.
Swear it's the NHL fans just go and watch games and go, gosh, he got really good, or blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's turning into a science.
Yeah, like I said to you, my last year coaching in the American League was 4 years ago, and we had one development guy. So now it's changed. Every team has this type of team of development people that's helping. Obviously, the scouts are really involved because they know this player. One of the things we do right away when we draft a kid is we sit down with our scouting staff and say, okay, what did we see here? They know these kids, they know the personality, and we really rely on them to sort of help us devise a plan for them for that next 2 or 3 years. So yeah, it's a lot different than it was. I coached in the American League for 8 or 9 years, and every year it sort of got more intense. And now I spend a week a month with our American League team. We have a couple other development guys, Ronnie Sutter, who's spent time down here. He spends a week with our American League team. So we're totally involved, and it's a really in-depth process. And the idea is that you don't leave a stone unturned, right? There's no excuse now. And with the way the cap works, the salary cap now, you have to draft and you have to develop. And we're starting to finally see sort of the fruits of that labor with some of our young players in the NHL now. So it's been really rewarding.
Well, I'll tell you what, you'll have a few more Calgary fans around the Siouxland area in a couple of years there.
Yeah, no, we're really excited about Martin, and again, the work that the group has done here with him is outstanding, and it's nice to come in and spend time, and they open up their doors for us and allow us to be productive with them. So it's a really good relationship.
Well, I appreciate the time.
You got it. Thank you.
Yep, that is Ray Edwards. He's Director of Player Development for Calgary. It is the Musketeer Coaches Show. It is right here on Fox Sports Radio 620 KMNS. This is the Musketeer Coaches Show. It's right here on Fox Sports Radio 620 KMNS. Musketeer hockey tonight. They take on the Fargo Force. It's a 6:30 puck drop. We'll start with the pregame about 6:15. We'll go from there and get you rolling. It is the Musketeers taking on the Fargo Force, looking to stop a couple losses, overtime loss, and then a loss to Sioux Falls on Saturday. But a whole cast of characters coming into town. He sneaks in every once in a while. It's Shane Clifford. He is the goalie coach for the Sioux City Musketeers. And well, give me your side looking at Seibel and looking at Cross, and how far have they come?
Well, it makes my job easy, that's for sure. They're both very talented kids. when you go back in the room, they're stretching, they're working out, doing all those things to get better, and they're just good. And but with the goalie stuff, it's really weird because it's not one goalie against 5 other players. If it's that, we're in trouble. But Luke and everybody, they just do such a good job here of everybody doing their job, what makes our job easier. So we have to do their job, everybody else has to do their job. And if you put those things together, you win a lot more hockey games than you lose.
Well, I always like it is if you give up a bunch of goals, it's obviously the goalie's fault. It's that pressure on the goalie. When if it's 4-2 victory, we're like whatever. But it's any loss, it seems like, and that's a pressure spot. I look at Jake. I look at Ben. These guys are so stinking calm.
They skate so well is part of the deal, and I think Matt Drusik helped Ben a lot just learning how to, like, Matt was a pro, like literally, like the way he treated his body and his workouts and everything that he did. He was always doing something to get better. If it's cold, tough, hot, he did anything he had to do to get better. But every time I walk back, he's on the roller. And I think for Ben's kind of taken that thing over, and now he knows that's what he has to do to be ready. And Jake's the same way. So it's been really good for both of them. But I think as far as the game goes, both of them have been playing very well, and we're fortunate to we honestly have 2 goalies that can play.
Well, I look at, again, speaking with Shane Clifford, he's the head coach. He's taking over Luke's job next week. But he is the goalie coach for the Sioux City Musketeers. And how much film do you look at as the goalie coach, or do you pick and choose what you're doing? And what are you looking at a goalie mainly when you're looking at video?
That is a great question. Wow, you're on your game today.
I know.
So sometimes, like, let's say we go there and we just get beat up one game. I might not even watch that, or I might watch it and not show it to them. And the thing about a goalie is you can go do everything right and still get scored on. So for us, it's kind of hard. But basically, what we'll do is, like tomorrow, we'll watch the games they played in the past because I got here Monday. We played today, obviously. So what we'll do tomorrow is all that'll be cut, and our guys do a great job of cutting all the video and all that kind of stuff. So I got an easy job. I get here, it's all done. So the amount of hours these guys put in, I have to give them props. Is Luke, and it's crazy. But anyway, with that being said, we'll just get into that tomorrow and watch the video. Like, because if you look at a goalie, like, it's either a screen, tip, it could be a deflection, it could be a walk from the goal line, it could be, we just see situations. So we'll see what situations they're having trouble with, or they want to, go through and just attack those and get a plan to where they're consistent in the way they approach it.
When you look at your goaltenders, even if they're not getting scored on or whatever, how much are you as the goalie coach looking at their position, where they're at in front of the net, I guess? Because it sounds like a pool sometimes. It's all about angles.
Well, it's that's a great question, because sometimes you'll go say, okay, here's that same shot that you faced, a month ago. Here's 7 of them that you faced. You stopped all these. Now here's the ones that you give up 2 goals on. What was different? And then they'll say they're not square, they're depth, and we can kind of compare those two to just help them learn and teach from that.
How far has it come for goalies? I mean, shoot, when I was young, we watched stand-up goalies. We've gone down to so many different things, and then we got pads and proper nutrition, and now we see all these goalies that are like 6'4". Things have come a long way.
Oh, wow. Like, basically, I mean, the only reason stand-up goalies were around is because everything they did was about protecting head, because why? They didn't have a helmet on. So once the equipment got better, our position evolved, and now it's a pretty technical deal to it. But yeah, the equipment was so bad that it was just, you had no choice but to stand up. But now you can get pretty much hit anywhere with the puck, and it doesn't bother you. So it's definitely, the position has evolved because of the equipment.
Well, except for one place, just don't open up your blocker at practice and get smacked at the ring finger.
Well, I did say it has to hit your padding. And I think that's something that Jake learned that he will never, ever do again. A very painful lesson. And a little story is when I came into the rink, I knew his finger was hurt, but I didn't see a picture of it. And I've been hit there before, and obviously it hurts. So I'm like, man, Jake, rub some dirt on it. Let's go. Go being soft. And he showed me a picture of his finger. I'm like, Jake, I am very sorry. That thing looked like someone blew it up. It was unbelievable. I couldn't imagine how bad that hurt. But I think he learned a valuable lesson from that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, come on. What? He just got hit in the pinky. Big deal. Until you see the raw meat at the end of his finger.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, the fingers. Come on, let's go. And then, like I said, that first picture I saw that, because the stitches broke out from it. And I was like, oh my God, that looks horrible. So, but it's a teaching clip again. So I'm back in Pittsburgh doing lessons, and boys, don't turn your blocker over. This is what will happen to you. So we haven't had anybody turn their blockers over there. So it's use everything being positive and teach with it.
You got to get copyrights, by the way, if you're going to show his actual hand. Can you put copyright thanks to Cybel for doing this?
Yeah, I think that won't be a problem because he would want everyone to learn from it as much as that hurt. So.
Shane Clifford is the goalie coach for the Sioux City Musketeers. Coach, tell me about one of the things, and we see it in the USHL. Some goalies handle the puck, play the puck, want to be involved in the puck more than others. Some a little too much, I think, for coaches' thing. Where do you start? And obviously, as the levels get higher and higher, you want that goalie to be really proficient with the puck. Where does that development start, and do you work with them?
Another good question. Wow. So
I don't know why you're so surprised on these amazing questions.
I shouldn't be now. I've known you long enough. You're the man. What I would say is it's a really difficult thing because some goalies have a knack for playing the puck and other ones don't. Obviously, the only reason you play the puck is so your team possesses the puck longer. So if you get a goalie back there and throwing it all over the place, then he can create chaos for your team. So every goalie has his own physical set of attributes. So you just want to make sure, hey, if he's going to play it and he's good at it, then we're not going to stop him from doing that. But if he's going to go back there and it's going to end up in the back of our net, well, then we just don't want him to do that. And that's okay because their main job is to stop the puck. But if you watch NHL goals or highlights in the leagues every night, a lot of goalies are turning pucks over and it ends up in the back of your net. So it's a special thing, but you have to be really good at it. You have to be very smart. And it's hard, to play pucks and wearing those gloves and everything. So it's not, everybody wants to go back and rip it off the glass. Well, then you just turned it over to them. So you really have to make sure every time they do play the puck that your team possesses the puck longer.
It's got to be safe with it. And of course, the ultimate goal for every good goalie is to pitch a shutout and get an empty netter for yourself, right?
That'd be unreal, yeah, for sure. I think when you grow up, that's what you think about. A shutout, I'll score the empty net goal, no big deal. So.
Yeah, I saw Tolvanen's older brother got an empty netter from northern Michigan. Was it last week or something like that? How often have you done this, Cliff? Scored goals as a goalie?
Me, I was lucky to get off the ice when I shot the puck. But I've coached goalies. I've had Brendan Yager with the Wenatchee Wild score one. Mike Wall scored one pro, and then David Reekie scored one in the USHL. So I think we've had three, but it's a special thing, and good for that young man to obviously have the poise to be able to get the puck and shoot everybody's head. And then a lot of people tweeted that at me and stuff like that. But as a goalie coach, I don't care if you coach the kid or not. You're like, yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Those are those bonus things. So any big correctable and things with the two guys right now that you want to see them improve on? Just, I guess, little things.
We always got stuff that can improve on, and we work at that even when I'm not here. Luke is different as a head coach because he's actually, studied goalies quite a bit, so he does a very good job with that. So a lot of times I'll come in and he say, well, this is what we're having trouble with, and he's so good I really don't have to watch the film because it's exactly what it is. But obviously I'm going to do that. But at the end of the day, we just got to keep doing what we're doing, and it's just getting better every day. That's what we focus on. But I can't think of, maybe sitting up in your butterfly, a couple little detailed things here, making sure we rotate fast, a couple things, but nothing that really stands out. We just got to keep kind of doing what we're doing.
All right, Cliffy, always good talking with you, and it's nice to see you in Sioux City.
Glad to be back, and go Muskies.
There you go. That is Shane Clifford. He is the goalie coach for the Sioux City Musketeers, and this is the Musketeer Coaches Show. Remember, 6:30 is puck drop, 6:15 is pregame. All the action right here on Fox Sports Radio. Musketeer Coaches Show brought to you by Bob Rose Point After, also brought to you by Knife River.